Hi everyone, before you dive into the episode, I just wanted to interrupt really quickly. You're gonna dive into this episode and you're gonna hear me call this podcast the Holistic Hustle Podcast. And that is because it used to be the old name of this podcast. And it was an amazing ride. I'm so grateful for the Holistic Hustle Podcast and what it served. But recently I've decided to rebrand the podcast based off the evolution of my own journey, my own story, and where God is calling me to go next. And so now the rebrand, which you may know already, is called Wisdom is Wealth. Didn't want you to be confused, so dive into this episode. They were an amazing episode, amazing guests, amazing insights, and enjoy.
What's cooler than getting stuff for free from things you're already doing?
Hi, I'm Justin Buonamo, and this is Holistic Hustle. Holistic Hustle is doing things for the right reasons, working hard for the right reasons. The healthy balance of what work and progression and accomplishment and success should actually look like. Welcome back to another episode of the Holistic Hustle Podcast with Justin Buonamo. I have an amazing guest here today, and everybody that is listening, please keep listening because we're going to talk about just an incredible opportunity that is available to just about everybody to simply travel the world, see places, have experiences, possibly all for free with a little piece of plastic you either have access to through an application or it's already sitting in your pocket. And so today I have Eli, quote unquote, the travel guy Facenda, who is a travel loving entrepreneur with a nerd-like passion for maximizing credit card points for world-class travel experiences. Eli has visited 42 countries in the last 5 years and is able to leverage credit card points to get on average around 100K of luxury travel per year for free. He is the founder of Freedom Travel Systems, where he and his team help travel-loving business owners maximize luxury travel points without the headaches or wasted time trying to figure it out. His favorite flight was flying in the $15,000 first-class seat in Emirates A380. His favorite country to visit is Japan, and his favorite credit card is the Amex Gold. And so as you can see, Eli is like the perfect guest for this podcast. It's the majority business owners who love to travel and love to get great deals when they can. And so Eli has, really blown up over the past year or so because what he is offering is not only extremely valuable, but super exciting. And we're beyond excited to have you here today, Eli, on the show. So thank you for being here, brother.
Justin, thank you for having me, man. That was a hell of an intro. And yeah, I'm really excited. I think the things that you talk about, the philosophies that you have line up so well with what we're going to talk about today. And I'm sure the audience is in for a fun treat because what's cooler than getting stuff for free from things you're already doing? So I'm excited to jump on with you, dive in and have a little fun.
Absolutely, dude. And I think the biggest thing with people listening right now is like, Eli is someone that really, really knows what he's doing. He has the proof in the pudding, but he's also an incredible human being. And so whatever you hear here today, he comes highly recommended from me. And if you are interested in anything that you hear, he is your guy for this. And I know plenty of people utilizing him and vouching for him at that same level, if not higher. And so one thing that really impresses me with Eli is he's absolutely blown up professionally over the past year. And I'm going to get into the questions here in a second, but a little backstory. I know Eli's girlfriend from, working with her through a few things in the past. Business-wise, incredible human being. When she first started dating Eli, it was when we were working together, I think maybe a year or two ago. And so I saw him, clicked on his profile, right, had, a couple thousand followers, was posting here and there. And then I think 6 months later, I think Bryn posted a picture with you and I went and clicked on your profile again. You had 100K followers, all that you could tell, all of the content or all of the engagement and the growth was legitimate, right? A lot of common followers now. And then even throw in I think you had a ski retreat in Canada that ended up being a massive hit. And I was talking to one of my buddies the other day who went and he said, the best retreat he had ever been to was Eli's because Eli didn't want to make money off of this, which there's no problem with making money off of it if you do great, right? But Eli really wanted to serve and have an impact. And he told me that before this retreat, Eli was taking phone calls with everybody to really understand what their goals were, what their problems were. And when you got to the retreat, you were put in front of 3 people who could solve your problems. I was like, holy shit, talk about valuable, man. And so just a little glimpse of what he's been doing. I didn't even do him justice for the professional blow up, which we'll get into, which I love to see because you're an incredible person who deserves that. But before we get into that, what is one thing you've learned about yourself personally in the process of scaling your business and achieving all the success that you have recently?
Yeah, man, it's a great question, and man, that intro just makes me like reflect on the journey, and it's been pretty cool because I think one of the things we all feel when you're growing something is like you're the common denominator in every scene of your life. So it's like things feel normal, and then you look back and you're like, yeah, holy shit, that is that is crazy to hear. On that note, man, it's consistency. I think that's been my biggest strength is just my ability to stay consistent through ups and downs, doing the same things that I'm planning to do. I choose the word consistency over discipline too, because to me, discipline, I don't know, the connotation with that just feels like it's not something you want to do, but you do it anyways. But
Yeah.
consistency to me is like, it's not really about the emotion. It's just, you're just doing the thing that you said you were going to do consistently over time. And I feel like when you're focused on the right direction, you're trying to add value, you're going to put engagement out, you're going to help your friends, your community, or whatever. If you do that consistently and you have something that works, like it'll probably get traction. And we were fortunate to be in a really cool niche where, a lot of the content's very sexy. People love it. Obviously, it's travel,
Yeah.
but the
Right.
consistency factor was one of the biggest things and I realized I learned a lot of that through sports growing up and just that ability to like perform at a high level on the sports field. And that translated over because it was something I looked at other people and I was like, how are you not just like engaging more consistently? Like, what are you like? Why are you dropping off? And some people just haven't learned that trait. So that's something I really realized is like, oh, that's an undervalued trait that I've had in myself. And yeah, it's a good question because it's one that was interesting to reflect on when I heard you ask.
Yeah, I think, consistency is so important. Consistency, I think a big thing to remember when people listening here is like he said consistency, not perfection. Right. And so part of consistency is falling off from time to time, but it's not a license to stay falling off. Right. If anything, get faster and better at getting back on the bike, right? Getting back on track. And I think a big thing with consistency is, what I'm hearing here is that like when you are consistent with the things that you said that you were going to do, like, yes, 1,000% that you're going to get results eventually. Like, the only way that you don't get results is if you quit and stop doing things. Right. But I think the biggest thing that you get out of that is just like that belief in yourself. Right. Where it's like basically when you're consistent, you're just keeping promises that you made to yourself. Right. And over time, you become to believe in yourself to not only keep those promises, but to deliver at a high level. And self belief and self worth are a huge part of welcoming business success. And so I've seen that consistency, man, and you've done a fantastic job with it. And I think it's, coming out in your business results. Right. I think another big part of it is, can you mention it too as well? It's like the content and the topics that you're teaching are sexy. They're things that people want to take advantage of, right? But I find and you find that people really aren't taking as much advantage of they can as business with credit, whether that's personal or business, but particularly the points and the benefits that they can get from utilizing credit cards for things that they're already spending money on. Like Eli, when we talk today, he's not going to tell you like to go to the mall and ball out the Louis Vuitton store with money that you don't have for things that you don't need. Basically what's happening is that most people are spending money already, but you're not getting the maximum amount of benefits for those expenditures. And so what is the biggest mistake business owners are making when it comes to the utilization of their credit cards and maximizing their points in the process?
Yeah, I'd love to dive into that. And I think just to touch on what you were sharing, one of the cool things, if you think about this from like kind of a accounting finance perspective, you're kind of turning liabilities into assets. It's
Mm,
similar to how like if you have a home and you Airbnb it, you pay rent on it, it's a liability. You can make cash flow on that. It becomes an asset. Well, it's like when you take your ordinary expenses that are already going out the door and you get better generating points, now you're essentially making money back at a higher rate off of something you're already spending money on. So it just seems like a very savvy way to do things. With some of the biggest mistakes that we see, there's a couple different kind of buckets of what we'd say people that would be missing out on this game. There's a few reasons why. So I'll lay these out. So the first person is going to be someone who doesn't understand the foundations of credit. And that usually in turn creates a situation where they're afraid to even get in the game because they're
yeah.
like, oh, am I going to wreck my credit score if I get a new card? Oh, like I can't get this card. I can't get approved for that. My credit score's down. I can't improve the score. So there's a lot of beliefs around like what credit means, how to improve your score, and therefore what you'll be eligible for that a lot of people get wrong. So that's like one of the primary ones. One of the other ones that's really common is people are like, I'm doing this, but my points can't get me anywhere. Like I'm doing it right. Like I have a credit card. I have one card that gets me Bank of America points, and I get one flight a year. Like, what are you talking about? Like I'm doing this. And they don't have there's an awareness gap around what it means to be optimized versus doing just like kind of the basic version of using a credit card. And they are two completely different things. They're so different. And so that's the second one. And the third one I'd say is someone that actually has a little bit of savvy with this. And they are using some cards, they got some decent points, but when they go to redeem the points, they redeem them at a really bad value. So we can get into more of how this works, but there's good deals versus bad deals with points. And making sure you get the best value out of your points is one of the biggest indicators if you're actually going to get like the trips you want, the dream experiences you want, and a lot of them. So I can give you a quick example on that. Right. So that Emirates flight you mentioned in the intro, I flew from New York to Dubai, first class. It's an awesome trip. And it was a $15,000 ticket if I was going to pay cash. Okay. So there would be three ways that I could book this flight. I could pay $15K, which I'm never going to do. Like that is just a ridiculous expense, right? So I guess like the oil sheiks maybe in Dubai, like they're cool with paying that, but I'm not. Number two, I can use my points through the travel portal, through the bank website. This would be like Amex Travel. Okay, so just for context, they give you 1 cent for each point. So each point equals a penny. So a $15,000 ticket would be 1.5 million points. Okay, option three is what I did. And I converted my points from the bank into the airline's website. And when I did that, I got the same flight that would have cost 1.5 million through Amex for 136,000 points. And then I paid $500 in taxes. So you can see how a lot of people are like, I have points, but I'm not getting the trips. I'm not getting first class. I'm not getting as many trips. Like I'm getting one trip domestically in economy. Why is this not working? Well, chances are, number one, they don't have the right cards and they're not fully optimized there. And then chances are, number two, they're going through the travel portal, or worse yet, they might be going to something like Amazon or cashing their points out for gift cards. So that's just going to always burn through your points really quickly. And you're never going to have enough to actually do the amazing things that are possible. And once you get those things dialed in, you have a better framework to know how to navigate the game better, which helps you make better decisions and get better results.
Fantastic feedback. Couple questions actually, maybe even selfishly. Why do you get a bigger bang for your buck by transferring it to the airline's website instead of booking through like Amex's travel website? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I'm going to answer this in two levels. The kind of tactical level answer is each airline and hotel price differently from the banks. So there's different types of pricing in the point scheme. Banks do what's called revenue-based pricing. Okay, so you get a 1-to-1 ratio on your point. So if the price of the ticket doubles, the number of points required through the bank will also double. Okay, what the bank is, they're kind of serving as what's called an online travel agency. So basically, you cash your points into Amex at 1 cent per point, and they're basically going to purchase the ticket from the airline. So again, when the price changes, the number of points change. The airlines have different types of pricing. These are called award charts. They price based on the zone you're flying, the distance you're flying. They all have kind of different models for it, but it's not typically based on the price. Now, each airline's different, but that's why it works. So like for Emirates, first class from the East Coast to Dubai is like one of two prices. It doesn't matter how much the cash cost changes if you go to the Emirates website. Okay. So that's kind of the reason that it's different. And hotels are similar. They have their own kind of rankings. Now on like a higher level, like why does that even work like that? Well, think about it. The banks and airlines all have these like partnerships and relationships. And from a standpoint of consumer loyalty, this is a game and they know it, right? Usually they just win the game. And we're kind of like robbing the casino here when we play the points game the right way. Yeah. But they're trying to get you on their cards. They're trying to get you in with the bank. They're trying to get that card to be top of wallet. And the airlines have loyalty programs too. So it's like two big players in the economy, banks and then airlines and hotels that are very set up for customer loyalty. And they kind of work together to try to get you to stay with them. So that's why it works this way. And that's why these loopholes all exist so that you stay being loyal because that's where they make their money.
I love that. It's such an easy breakdown of what's going on behind the scenes. And when you have that awareness and that knowledge, you save yourself a bunch of money. And then in that process, get to take more trips, right? Yeah. You're spending less with the same amount of points. That means you got more points left over for more trips.
Exactly.
And so I appreciate that value. Another quick curious question. Why is the Amex Gold your favorite card?
So number one, just the flex status. It's a nice metal card, and I love that feeling when it's metal and you clink it down. Cool. It feels good. Yeah. Okay. Now that's that out of the way. That's actually not the reason at all. It is. It's the best card for groceries and dining, and everyone's got to eat, right? So it's just going to earn It's going to earn 4 points per dollar on those two categories of purchases, which is pretty much guaranteed for everybody. So it's a really high earner on a common category spend where there's usually a lot of spending going on. So if you have this card, you get it, you set it up, you get the 4X on groceries and dining. Throughout the course of the year, you'll get a lot more points. So let me contrast that with like the Amex Platinum, right? It's a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
misconception because a lot of people think, oh, the platinum is like Amex's best card. It's the highest annual fee. It's the sexiest. It's got all the benefits, right? If it's $700, it must be where it must get you better value, right? Wrong, actually. It only earns 1 point on groceries and dining. So just that small switch alone, right? In one scenario, you might get like 50,000 points a year off of your just normal eating, which can get you to Europe in business class. And that might be a $4,000 ticket. So dining and groceries equals $4,000 ticket to Europe. Or if you have the platinum card, which is not optimal, dining and groceries equals like one-way ticket to from New York to Florida in economy. Right.
So
So it's like a huge difference from one card. So that's why I like that one so much. It's just an easy way to earn a ton of points.
everybody's got to eat. We're already spending money on food. You might as well get 4 times the points.
Exactly.
Right. And so I love that, man. So is that for, because I have the Amex Blue, the Amex Gold, and the Amex Platinum for business. Is
Mhm.
that for personal? Like if you got it in a personal name and the business, because you could do the Amex in both.
Yeah, so they're separate products, right? So like there's a business gold and a personal gold. Think
Yeah.
of them as entirely separate.
Uh-huh.
Each has their own bonus categories. So the personal gold gets groceries and dining. The business gold gets dining and a bunch of others, but not groceries. So and
At
like also from
4x
a
mark.
tax, what's that?
At the 4x mark.
Yeah, the 4X mark. Yeah.
Okay.
And but the other thing is too, like, you know, if you are eating out personally quite a bit, like you want to have that on a personal card for tax, just simplicity and keeping your, I mean, that's your, zone of genius here. But basically, from my standpoint, I see it as if you have a bunch of business expenses and personal expenses mixed on the same card, it becomes a much bigger headache to separate those. So it's just better to
Okay.
say, hey, this is our eating card for personal. And then if you do a lot of business dining, like you have a lot of clients you take out, or you go to a lot of events and you're eating out a lot there, cool. Now we also have the business gold separately, and I use that card when it's a business event.
I love that. Okay, super helpful. For the audience, I get this question a lot. Like when it gets to like when you're in Amex, right? Like most times, it doesn't seem like once you get approved for a credit card, they don't pull your credit for another application. They kind of just do it based off your relationship. Is
Mm-hmm.
that true? Like, because I know a lot of people listening to this and have this question because majority have them, I find, in the business's name, but they don't have them in the personal name. So let's just say I hopped off here and I wanted to apply for the Amex Gold in the personal name. Is that a fresh new hard inquiry, or is anything that people should know? Because again, I'm sure people are going to want to get it in both now. And I'm
Yeah.
just curious if you have any
Yeah.
insights on
Yeah.
how to go about that application
Yeah.
wise.
That's a good question. It's a very kind of niche one because the way that inquiries work varies across the different banks by a lot. So, like the whole thing where
Yeah.
Amex will often give you a soft pull after you've gotten in with them from an initial hard pull. That's unique to Amex. Most banks do not do that, and it's not always the case. So sometimes, like if you haven't gotten a new card with them in a while, they might give you a hard pull if your credit's changed a lot. So it's not guaranteed, but it is very common. But it doesn't matter if it's business or personal because basically they are looking at your personal credit report, and you either through the business or through your individual cards have a relationship with the bank, and that's what they're looking at. So
Makes
um,
sense.
yeah, that's how that works. But a couple of things on those sign up bonuses, if you are getting new cards, like two things to make sure you take note of. Number one is going to be the bonus. So you want to make sure that when you're getting these cards, you're getting a great bonus on them because most of them will have awesome sign up bonuses super fast, especially if you're not a super high spender. Like we get a lot of people that are like, oh, I only spend 5,000 a month. Like this doesn't work for me, does it? It's like that is not the case. When I was starting out doing this, I was spending $1,000 to $2,000 a month, and I was getting some crazy travel out of it. And that was because I was doing a lot of the bonus stuff. So like that will help a lot. And then the second thing is to always use like a referral link or someone's link if you are going to sign up. Like if someone's in your community and they're going to sign up, like get Justin's Amex Gold. He gets a bonus, you get a bonus, everyone wins. Like we have
Yeah.
links, your friends, your family have links. So like use those because there's no point in getting off of the Amex website. No one wins except for Amex if you do that.
Yeah.
So that's one other little tip.
I love that. Yeah, the sign up bonus is a whole different ballgame. It's one thing to get points for purchases. It's another thing when like you sign up for a card and they're like spend $3,000 in the first 90 days and you get 50,000 extra points. It's like hold my beer. I was going to spend it anyways. You know what I mean? And so pay attention to those sign
Yeah.
up bonuses and the ongoing
Yeah.
point structure.
I got
So yeah,
quick story on that one.
yeah, go ahead.
So I'll paint the picture for this. At this point, when this happened, I am about a year out of college. Most of my friends are on Wall Street at this point, so they're making a lot of money. And I was like starting a company. I was working 5 jobs. So I was driving Uber, coaching baseball lessons, working at a restaurant, trying to start this company. So like I was hustling. I'm spending about again like $1,000 a month, and I had already found out a little bit about the points thing. And I was like, this sounds really cool, but damn, I wish I was spending more money because like this won't work if I only spend $1,000. That's what I thought. And then I started to learn, okay, there's these sign up bonuses and there's ways to kind of do these referral links. And I was like, all right, I could get a few 100,000 points a year if I do this right. And so I started to research and I stumbled into this card. And this card had a bonus where it said on your first purchase, and by paying the $95 annual fee, you'll get 60,000 points. And I was like, starting to learn about points. And I was like, hold on,
Yeah.
60,000 points means I can go round trip to Europe. So I
Yeah.
got the card. I was like, I got to try this. I went to 7-Eleven, got a Slurpee for like $2,
Yep.
flew round trip to Italy like a few months later. I was like, I was like, I am in heaven. I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done. So to
Bro, is
that
that the
point, like,
American Airlines card or
yeah,
it
it's
was the
for
American
people listening.
Airlines one.
Yeah, American Airlines Aviator Red. It's a Barclay card. It's a
Yep.
personal card too. So yeah, you know about it. Nice.
I remember that deal. And like, I was reading the reviews, like, there's got to be something wrong with this. And people are like, I literally bought a fucking pen from the dollar store and it worked.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah,
like, oh man, like, but skepticism, lack of financial literacy, negative paradigms that aren't serving us around credit
yeah,
cards would literally hold you back from taking a free round trip to Italy for buying a Slurpee.
yeah.
For literally buying a Slurpee.
Exactly.
Dude, I love
Exactly.
that story.
Yeah.
I love that story. I think that's so cool. So we're talking about a lot of incredible results here, but what are some awesome results that your clients have seen from learning your systems and strategies for credit card points?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you for like your awesome results, but we've already gotten into it. So
Sure.
love to hear like what clients are seeing when they're working with you.
Yeah, I mean, we have such a wide range of clients, which is really cool. So we have some people that are just, nomad backpackers and they're freelancers and they're starting out. We have early six figure stage entrepreneurs that like have, it's them and like maybe a VA and like one other team member. We've got all the way up to like multiple 8 figure entrepreneurs with like 200 people teams and stuff like that. So we have the whole gamut. So we've seen quite a bit. Some of the coolest things, man, like each aspect of this is cool for its own reason. But one of the things I really love is when people do stuff with their family. And we recently had a family that took a trip to Europe and they went to Florence and Rome. And this was really cool. So this client was a home builder, so he spent a lot of money on construction materials. He was like going to Home Depot a lot. Wasn't earning the right points, didn't have it dialed in. He was like using a Bank of America card or something like that at the time. So we got him switched over. We got the right cards in place. Got him some Amex points, some Chase points, and his mother was like 91 years old and she had never been to Europe and she's getting up there. And I think they were a Catholic family. So for them to go see like the Vatican and like do some of this stuff and see parts of Italy like that, it was a really meaningful trip. And he was looking at the flights. And that's why he reached out to us. And he was like, hey, this is going to be like a $40,000 to $50,000 trip to do business class, which we want to do. And he's like, what can we do here? So we end up doing some research. We end up getting them business class flights for 315,000 points instead of 4 million. And then they did pay about $4,000 in taxes because with certain airlines, when you fly through the UK, they just charge more. It's like how it worked. But still, we saved around $39,000 on that single trip. So like from a bit, a higher level CEO with a bigger family doing that kind of thing, it was just like so cool to see a picture of him and his kids and his grandma, or his mother at the, in Italy going through those like, the Vatican and at the Duomo. So we've got stuff like that. And then we've got other ones where there was actually, I call him a kid because he was like 19 when he joined and he was just starting an e-commerce business. And basically he was like, I need to get to Thailand because I'm not making any money. I need to like run this really lean. But he's like, I want to figure out this credit thing so I can buy inventory and start up. Right. And we've had a couple other people doing this that are kind of more in the coaching space. But it was really cool. This kid's 19 and he like applied what we taught him. And then a couple months later, he's like, hey man, I hit a couple of those sign up bonuses. And he sent me a picture of him flying business class on Singapore Airlines over to get to Thailand. And he was like, this is insane. This was like a $9,000 ticket. Like, I'm not even making this much. Like, he was just mind blown. And it was so cool for like someone like that to get to take these possibilities and be like, all right, I'm going to go across the world and like, live in Thailand for a couple months and do that whole thing. So we've had the range, man. A lot of what we see also, this will be the last one, then I'll shut up here.
Good.
We have had so many clients that we've, these Instagram videos you see all over with the Maldives probably, or at least that's my feed, right? Where it's like the sexy overwater villas and like the slides. Like we've sent a lot of people on like amazing honeymoon trips there. And that one's really cool because you tandem it typically with a really nice Middle Eastern carrier, which they have the best airlines and aircrafts in the world. So like Emirates first class has a shower and a bar on it. Etihad first class has a shower and a bar on it. And they have like these things that turn into beds. Qatar Airlines has like some of the best airline experiences and even like the lounges at the airport. And then you get to the Maldives and it's like private overwater villa. You get a seaplane on the way in, like crazy, butler service for some of them, and you get your own kind of private plunge pool. So we've done a lot of trips like that where we're sending people to the Maldives or even Bora Bora for these like epic honeymoon trips. And people save up their points for a while for this. Might be like a year of saving up points. And then they cash in these points and get like a $50,000 bucket list trip versus, again, they could have gone to Amazon and cashed them out there and gotten like a vacuum. So it's like, the trade-off is significant. But that's one of my favorites too, is seeing like these couples taking advantage of it as well.
Such awesome stories and so many opportunities, man. Like it's right below our nose, like like maybe even just right in our pocket,
Yeah.
or an application away, dude. But this is something where like you want to work with somebody that knows what they're doing with this. Could you figure this out on your own? Maybe, but even if you did, you're gonna hold yourself back from like these negative paradigms and false stories and fears that you're gonna tell yourself, and let a little blip in the road hold you back. And there's so many vacations and memories and experiences that can happen if you're guided the right way. And so, Eli, where can people find you and connect? Because I'm sure there's gonna be a ton of people that are gonna want to do that. And do you have any exciting offers or opportunities going on right now that the audience can take advantage of?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two places to connect with me directly. The first is going to be on Instagram. This is where I hang out the most. So you can just go over to my Instagram. If you DM me 10x and just say you came from the Holistic Hustle podcast, hey, I heard you with Justin, then we'll send you over some freebies. We got a mini course. We got a cool calculator. We'll give you some top card links, stuff to get you started, get you a taste of what's possible here. And then depending on where you're at, if you want to consult with our team, that may make sense as well. And we can support you there. The other way would be similarly to go to freedomtravelsystems.com/holistic. That'll be down below. You can learn more, again, get access to the same resources if you're not on Instagram. So those would be the two places. And I just want to share, I'll share a little bit about some of the offers we have going on. But one of the things that you just nailed, man, is like really the core philosophy for me, for our business, like what we really value is this is for entrepreneurs that really are like trying to create the life of their dreams. Like they're all in on being like, I got one life, I get one shot. I want to create these unbelievable experiences, because at the end of the day, when you look back, when you're 80, 90, 100 years old and you're on your rocking chair, you remember the peaks, you remember the 9s and 10s, and you remember the 1s and 2s. You don't really remember the mediocre traffic you got stuck in. Like that stuff fades from your memory. But the holy shit, we climbed a mountain with my family and we flew first class and like had this unbelievable experience and went to a seaside overwater villa resort and I didn't have to pay for it. You remember that, right? And you remember the shitty moments too. But what we're doing here is we're helping people build more peaks in their life, more 9s and 10s. And that's what we're kind of driven by. There's a great book called Die with Zero, if you're familiar with that. Similar philosophy there. And it's like really about optimizing your life for fulfillment and experiences rather than just like the accumulation of material things. So that's what we're about. If that is something that interests you, if you're listening, we do have a couple of different levels of our community and support. So we have a membership community where you get tons of access to all sorts of deals and alerts, special things that our team is finding. You get direct support to experts on this. We have short, quick video trainings that help you navigate the next step where you're at, and options to book a la carte support as well. So one-on-one custom card plans, one-on-one calls, done for you trips where we plan it for you. So we've got stuff like that in our membership. And then we have hiring concierge services as well, where you get like a private, essentially points and miles expert in your pocket. And that's for our hiring clients as well that have bigger spend and more travel. But basically, if you're doing low 6 figures up to multiple 8 figures, you like to travel, you spend money, and you're based in the US, we've got something that would be a great fit for you. And there's lots of freebies that you can dip your feet in with in the beginning as well.
So many opportunities. And like, it just reminds me of the quote, like the time is going to pass either way. It's our decision on how we want to utilize it. And it's just like, do you want to take free vacations or not? And I think Eli Services is one of those things where it's like, you're going to cost yourself more money by not having him than you would by having him. Right. And so just strongly urge anybody listening, right, to step forward towards Eli. Worst case scenario, just gain an awesome human being in your corner. And so speaking of an awesome human being in your corner, man, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you being on this show, dude. So thank you for coming today. And what you provided was so super valuable. I'm sure we're gonna have to do a part 2 here soon.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And thank you for having me on and building what you've built to provide this kind of content to so many people that really need it. Financial literacy and the things that you guys are supporting people with, it's invaluable. And honestly, this is a nice bonus to something that you do, but what you guys are doing is phenomenal. and really supporting a lot of people. So appreciate you having me on.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And thank you for everybody listening. And so thank you again for coming to another episode of the Holistic Hustle podcast. As I always say at the end, my mission with this podcast is to simply create content that is going to impact the world. And what can be more impactful than just beautiful, incredible memories, right, that you have created through free travel? And so if this message resonated with you today, make sure you download, you subscribe, and most importantly, if you know somebody that would benefit from this message, please share this with them. We appreciate you all so much, and we'll see you on the next episode.